You know, Henry Thoreau said, if an emergency struck, a man should be able to leave his home with nothing but merely the clothing on his back and not feel like he's left anything behind. A self-sufficiency nearly impossible to obtain in today's modern society. But you know, there's still a dream that still prevails today, just as strong as it did in 1842 when Henry wrote Walden. That's to return to the wild, to live the simple life. Well, my name's Jason, and welcome to my homestead, and a new series I'm going to do on the second channel of mine, Country Family Forest Homestead. It's going to be more of a family vlog style, based around our homestead up here, showing you what it takes for us to live off-grid up here in the forest. You know, we've started with nothing and built everything we have here. We'll go through everything that we've done to get to this point, what we're working on now, and of course things that we still need to do to get to our goals, which are to live self-reliant up here. And you know, it's been quite a journey to get to this point, so there's a lot of stuff I'd like to share with you from the past that's got us to this point, and then once we get caught up, kind of take you a tour of our home and property, and continue on from this point with video documenting everything we're doing and sharing it with you guys. You know, we've built everything we have up here, started with nothing. We live in a 30-foot Pacific yurt. Some of you probably don't even know what a yurt is, but I'll show you closer at some point. But I'd like to give you a little history tour of what it's taken for us to get to this point. You know, it started for me many years ago, 12 or 15 years ago, long before I had kids or a family, and I bought my first property and moved out there and lived off-grid, built a tiny home. So I think we're going to start the video with that, kind of giving you a history of what it's taken for us to get to this point. And then we'll share everything from this point on, guys. So thanks for being here, and let's go. Now, we are very grateful to be on this piece of property, and so thankful that we get to raise our kids up here. We've come a long way from starting with nothing up here, but definitely have a long way to go to get everything completed. But this story began many years ago for me on a completely different piece of property. So let's take a look. About 13 years ago, I bought a bare acre of land near where I grew up, on the east side of Fern Ridge Reservoir. And the property was located at the end of a gravel road bordering the wildlife refuge. It was pretty secluded, and it was a great place to start an off-grid homestead. Now, when I started, it was just bare land with nothing on it except for a perimeter 6-foot deer fence with gates and a new well. Now, I was able to purchase this land with a small down payment and owner carry contract. It felt so good to have my own piece of land, so I quickly moved out a 5th wheel travel trailer. This was 35 foot with dual slide outs, and being that we're off grid, I installed a small wood stove for heat. And for electricity, I relied on a small Honda generator that performed excellent, and I still have it to this very day. Now, this thing ran my well pump, which then gave us pressurized water. And with that, I built my first structure, a bathhouse, a detached bathroom, log-style cabin using 4x4 posts. And this was all reclaimed wood I got for free. I installed a small composting toilet and a portable on-demand hot water heater for hot showers and baths. Now, this structure served its purpose well and gave me the confidence to build new structures down the road. Soon after that, I purchased a metal building from Northwest Metal Buildings, which eventually I moved to our new property. There's my old dog Kane sitting in front of the garden, which I took a lot of pride in, starting with this greenhouse I built, and then planting a huge vegetable garden. Now, we do have a vegetable garden at our new property, but we're definitely going to have to expand it as time goes on. Along with the garden, I also raised some farm animals, like chickens, and turkeys, and goats, as well as some ducks, and peacocks. And it was about this time that travel trailer started feeling awfully cramped. So I decided it was time to start building my tiny house. I started here with a gravel pad, and then I started building the pressure-treated foundation. This was going to be a 12 by 24 tiny house with an upstairs loft. Now, with the lumber purchased and some help from some great friends, the construction quickly got started. Now, it was around this time that my daughter Sky was born, and soon after, her mother left us, leaving me a single dad. Now, I might go into more detail about this later in another video, but for now, just let me tell you, this was a very transcending time in my life. But I took this new responsibility with pride and honor. I strive to be a great father for Sky and now all my children. Now, with the new determination to get this completed, we continued on the construction of this tiny house, including this amazing staircase built by my friend Kelly Campbell from Spiderhole Customs on Instagram. These turned out great, Kelly. Thank you. Now, week after week, I just kept chipping away at it, trying to get this project done. Here I finished the roofing and got started on the siding, and then moved on the inside where I did the electrical and I did all of the insulation. Then quickly went up the drywall and all the mudding and sheetrock work, and then to texture, primer, and paint. Next, I installed the hardwood oak flooring and the carpet, along with the baseboard and trim. This was our first night in the new house. I pretty much made the living room Sky's bedroom, giving her a little corner and her own space. Then I moved on to finishing the staircase and making my bedroom up in the loft. Then we started painting and doing the trim and finishing up a lot of the outside. It felt so good living in a house built by your own hands. But soon I needed to build some sort of kitchen, and not being a cabinet maker, I did what I could. So this is the idea that I came up with: a wood slab countertop, stained and sealed. Then I installed a gas cook range that I converted to propane. And then I installed a small on-demand propane hot water heater, as well as wood stove for heat. Now this is about the time that I met my amazing and wonderful wife, Peggy. We fell in love and quickly decided to join our little families together. We knew this tiny house wasn't going to be big enough for all of us, so we opted to sell this property and home and find a new place to start fresh together. So I listed this property for sale and it quickly sold. Bittersweet experience. Well, now, of course, with the sale of that old property, I'd already been on the search for a new one. And I had my sights set on a property way up above Oak Ridge, Oregon, higher in the mountains than we are now. It was another piece of bare land. It was a couple acres off-grid on a mountaintop, $1 million view, but it was rough. It was just a cat track road up to the top, nothing, no power, no electric. But we really thought that that was going to work out for us at that time. And so the next mission was to find something for us to live in. We were temporarily renting a room in town that we were all staying in that we had to figure out something quickly. We only had 30 days or so left, and I frantically started searching, thinking maybe another travel trailer, fifth wheel maybe. I'd already sold the other tiny house, and there was no way I was going to build one fast enough. We didn't quite have the money to buy one. I really had to stretch out the money that I'd gained from the sales of that property, most of it going to a down payment on the new land. But with what I had remaining, we were trying to scour Craigslist and Marketplace, trying to figure out what we could do, and that's when we found the yurt. We decided it'd probably be our best bet with the money we had, and the four of us in the family. We needed a space bigger than a small travel trailer, something we could live in while we did build a tiny house or a bigger house, but we needed something fast. So we decided to go look at the yurt. It was a 30-foot Pacific yurt, which they're manufactured here in Oregon in Cottage Grove. They're a very reputable company. They have different size yurts, and the 30-foot, the one we got, is the largest. Like I was saying, it seemed like the best bang for our buck, so we went for it. So we drove deep into the forest to find this, a used but very good shape Pacific yurt. From the outside, it's deceivingly small, but once you get inside, it's a very large and open space, and we knew this would be perfect for our family to get started. So after paying only $13,000, I got a group of good friends together to help me disassemble this thing piece by piece. So we started with the interior first, the kitchen, bathroom, loft, and then we started on the outside, the roof, the rafters, walls, doors, all the components of the yurt, including the platform, which turned out to be the hardest part of the whole process. Well, now that we had the yurt completely disassembled, I was able to pay to have it stored somewhere temporarily because I was trying to finalize the purchase of the new land, which unfortunately didn't pan out. Still don't know the true details of that, and I might go into it a little more in another video, but regardless, it didn't pan out. And that left me in kind of a desperate situation as, I was homeless at that point. I mean, we were renting a room temporarily in town, but that was ending. So frantically trying to figure out what to do, I contacted the owner of the land that we bought the yurt from. Once talking with him, we realized that was going to be our best decision ever, is to come back and put the yurt back in the place that we took it down from. And that's what we did. It was a crazy turn of events that brought us right back to the spot we took the yurt from. Now with the new plan to move to this property, we soon realized how great it was and how perfect it was going to work out for our family. So we started prepping the site and preparing it to build our new home. I started by leveling the site and bringing in several dump truck loads of gravel to build the pad. We also obtained a small tiny home that we stayed in during the construction, which you can see located in the background. Once the pad was level and packed, I started laying out the pier blocks in their correct positions. Then got started laying out all the posts and beams for the foundation. And getting this portion of the construction plumb level, and square was no easy task. But once that was completed, we started installing the 3-inch rigid insulation. With this portion of the construction done, we were able to start laying the 1 1/8 inch subfloor and the perimeter trimming. Now, as you can see, I did replace a few of the sheets of subfloor with a guarantee we had a firm foundation. Now, with all the progress finally being made, we are all excited about our new home coming together. A lot of hard work and even more love went into building this home. Next, it was time to start erecting the components of the yurt on top of this platform. Starting with the back and front doors. And then the lattice wall structure that has a cable around the top perimeter that holds the circular structure. And then next, we elevated the top ring as we inserted the rafters into it and then attached them to that top cable. Now, as you insert enough of those rafters, it suspends that top ring on its own and gives the whole structure its stability. It was very exciting seeing this all come together, and with the help of the friends, we made quick progress. So at this point, we were ready to install the roof, which had to unfurl down up through the top hole, clocking the front and door positions just right. Now, it was quite a struggle because that roof material is pretty heavy, and we had to build a scaffolding so we could reach that dome porthole to be able to put the roof up and through that. But now with that roof in position, we're able to start on the exterior insulation and canvas walls. At this point, we could really feel our home coming together, and we were excited to be living in such a unique space. Now, with the construction of the yurt mostly completed, we had to start on the inside, building the bathroom and pantry and loft and kitchen. Pretty much starting from scratch, utilizing some of the plan from the previous construction in the yurt, but with our own twist. Now, building in a yurt presents its own difficulties, being that there is no exterior wall or structure to tie into or build off of. So you have to build a freestanding structure, which I did towards the back of the yurt, with the loft above and the bathroom behind. And together with my wife, we tiled the shower and bath area, giving her most of the credit to her beautiful mosaic tile work. Now this is the outside of that structure, the loft up above, and soon to be the kitchen out front. And you go around one side of the bathroom and you go around the other side to the pantry. Now within this wall is where I ran all the plumbing and electrical. And then next I got busy building the kitchen structures. And once again, not being a cabinet builder or having much knowledge in this, I resorted back to what I already knew, and that was the way I built the previous kitchen. Now, I'm not sure if I mentioned, but this property did have a well, which we were able to plumb to the kitchen, as well as water from a well To our surprise, this property did have power, which we quickly utilized, and was a huge help because we were roughing it. Now this kitchen design might look a little familiar to you. Once all the construction and painting was done, we installed the rest of the kitchen appliances. Now something we're going to be doing soon is adding a center island to match. Now once this was complete, we added the rest of our furniture and belongings and began living in this wonderful space we built ourselves with love. And one of the first unique features of living in the yurt we discovered was the sound of a rainstorm. All right, guys. Now, I kind of blazed through that pretty quick. So if there's anything that you wanted to know more about or had questions, ask me in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you and explain that in a little more detail. Of course, there's some things I haven't even touched on yet that we will in upcoming videos, like the wood stove and the installation of the stovepipe and all that, as well as the bathroom. You know, we're about to put a real septic system in soon. As silly as it sounds, we're all excited to have flushing toilets. You know, I've been utilizing composting toilets for about 12 years now. So I'll take you guys along for all these adventures. You know, there's been a lot of adjustment to live in a yurt, and we'll talk about those as well. And as you noticed, or I mentioned before, we do have electricity now, which is a huge bonus. You know, I lived off-grid without electricity probably for 7 years, and having electricity does definitely help. And I'm able to use all the power tools and the 220 and all that other stuff I wasn't able to really do with solar. But, you know, having all that experience living without electricity really comes in handy up here because, you know, we do lose power quite often. But, you know, a couple weeks without power ain't nothing. We got propane cook stoves and wood stove for heat, and I still got the little Honda generator that does excellent, running everything when need be. And of course we've installed gardens and greenhouses and chicken coops, dog pens, wood bins. We got all kinds of stuff that I haven't even showed you yet that we'll go into more detail about in future videos. But one thing that I can't express enough is how blessed I feel, how blessed we are as a family up here. I'm so thankful to have met my wife, Peggy, and joined our families together. You know, we still struggle with the same hardships and dynamics that most families do, especially living up here, all the struggles and tribulations we have with the weather. And, you know, we've gone through some pretty tough storms up here, and we come out usually unscathed. You know, we've been up here for about 5 years. You know, that's 5 years since we joined our families together. It was Peggy and her daughter Paige, which was 12 at the time, and me and my daughter Sky, which was 5. Now she just turned 10. And of course we got our new son River, which is 2.5. And we're blessed to have each other up here. We have so many blessings to be thankful for. Now, another thing I don't know if I've mentioned, we don't own this land yet. We're just in a lease agreement now, but the option to buy has been presented several times, and we really want to buy the property. And we just have to come up with the money and means on our end. So that's something we're hoping that we can manifest. Maybe together with you guys we'll be able to conquer that dream and eventually own this land outright. Well, so hopefully you guys are interested in this and you want to see more. I'm going to keep making videos documenting our whole process up here, and hopefully eventually we'll conquer our dreams of owning this land and living up here self-reliant. So please hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share with your friends. And until next time, peace.